gonna hit him from the top rope.
Oh, man.
So you got the splurts.
A lot of splurts today, folks. So, boom, here we go.
Ooh, wee, loaded jeeps, they're good.
Welcome, folks, to the 4099 podcast with your hosts, Dima and
I'm Nick. Hi.
And Nick is finally back.
I'm nervous. Oh, I'm all sweaty.
The moment that everyone's been waiting for. The co-host has finally arrived from the north.
The return.
The return of the Nick.
The Great White North.
The Great White North.
The King of the North.
I've come back down to the Elven Droves.
The
What's
Elven
good,
Droves
boys?
in the new studio now. We're in the new studio. Relocated. What do you think?
It's pretty comfortable.
Not bad?
Oh, yeah. It's a nice, chill
It definitely beats
environment.
the Caddyshack vibe.
The Caddyshack bod.
A free space is a free space is a free space. Can't complain.
Yeah.
That being said, this is more better.
Yeah. This is better suited for our individual tastes and things we got to get going. But anyway, hello, folks. We're back at it for episode 17, and we have a really special guest in the building here today. You guys have already seen him if you guys have watched episode 5, I believe, the serial killer episode.
Oh, yeah.
Super cereal.
Super serial.
That
Super
was
serial.
so long ago.
It was before the virus.
Yeah, it feels like maybe even a whole year.
Yeah. It feels like it.
Almost,
feels like
though,
it.
actually, right?
March, right?
Yeah.
Or something?
What? Nah, it was before March.
February?
It's
Beginning of the year.
Beginning of the year.
Yeah, beginning of the year.
I'm not a smart man. I don't remember dates.
All right, Nick, you're going to have to give him an intro because I've been doing all the intros for the last 6 episodes. Go ahead. I'm putting you on the spot. This is what it feels like to be back in the studio. Go ahead. Give our guest a proper
such
intro.
pressure. Such intense pressure.
All right. Well, I mean, based off of his accent, he comes from origins unknown. He's the welterweight champion of the art scene.
Okay.
And he's here to give us a rundown beat course in not being a dumbass.
I like that. What do you think about that? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
For the first time back, that's pretty good.
I try to apply that, philosophy to myself.
Live and learn and don't get killed.
Exactly.
Do not get killed.
That's the one goal.
And this is a zombie apocalypse, and you're doing it right. We're all still here.
So, I didn't actually introduce him, though.
Yeah.
I give you,
Irvin.
Sir
Irvin. That's
Hello. Thank you for having me again.
Swervin' Irvin.
Swervin'
Can
Irvin.
I call you that for now?
I've been called that before, since middle school. People have been
then never mind.
Irvin, Swervin' Irvin. And then in high school, that's how someone gave me my Instagram handle.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of Instagram handles, tell the people what your handle is so they can reach out and contact you if they need anything.
It's Swervin, SWRV, 4 I's and an N. It's just my personal page, my art page.
So
just posting.
You're an all-in-one guy right now, right?
Yeah, that's why I feel like that's kind of, I don't want to say the easiest thing, but just my page would just be my work, and also including things about my personal life, but more importantly just my work.
I feel like that's actually cooler though, because it kind of gives an all-encompass 360 view of who you are, as opposed to well, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's this is also who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like that genuineness that carries a lot of weight that can't be just sold.
Yeah, I'm trying to definitely be a little bit more social on social media that can help carry that idea of being genuine and making real connections through a digital space, which is still kind of weird to think about, but it's the age that we're living in, so definitely trying to take advantage of that.
Well, dude, speaking of what you do and what kind of person you are, I really want to ask so that we can give the new listeners a little bit of context if they haven't already looked at episode 5. What do you do? And kind of a runoff question from that is not only what do you do, but what are you interested in what you do.
That's his version of Kindergarten Cop's
Yes.
parody
Yes.
of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who's your daddy and what does he do?
Well, so I just broad label, just visual artist, but focusing on using photography, video producing, straight up like traditional photo images, but also creating surreal work, kind of experimental work through like digital manipulation, even just like scanning in drawings and manipulating that in Photoshop or After Effects, and like definitely wanting to distort light, color, space, and offer, I guess, like a different view on how to perceive, I guess, our reality.
Yeah, so like a digital photographer, I'd
Mhm.
say, and a digital photography manipulator.
Mhm.
And the second runoff question for that was, why do you like to do it?
Um,
What about what you do interests you so much? What do you think? Yeah.
I guess creating from destroying things, like taking something that exists already, kind of fudging with it until it is produced into something that's kind of not unrecognizable, but still like you asking yourself like, what is that? Trying to catch your eye in that kind of way.
So taking something that already exists and making it, putting a new twist on it,
Yeah,
putting a spin on
just
it.
a different kind of visual perspective. Yeah.
I like that.
Job descriptor: digital recycling wizard.
I love recycling. I love doing
And
that.
you're a wizard, so I mean, it's only right.
Magic.
That's why on this
flows.
show we only use aluminum and glass.
Yes, that's good. Yes, no more plastic cups. Please.
Save the turtles,
even
bro.
though it's
Save the
so
freaking
hard.
turtles.
It's so hard.
Save the fucking turtle. Yeah, is it that hard? Just get so worked up about silly shit. 20 billion tons of plastic.
Yeah.
Plastic islands in the Pacific Ocean.
That's insane. And
you can't even walk on it.
Yeah, I know.
Because you'll die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just sink. Become
Sorry.
part of the trash.
Wild tangent.
Well, I mean, to bring it all in a little bit, how'd you start in all this? Like, what's the origin story? People like origin stories.
Right.
What is the origin story
Let's
of how...
get the way back origin story.
Yeah.
I don't know like how to describe, I guess, like my origin story of just like I know just like loving I loved spending time just like flipping through like photography books. Like I remember in middle school where there was like this big giant Life book or Time.
We talking like scrapbooks or like articles?
No, we're talking about like art photo books. Like there was, I don't know, there's like this,
Clearly I've never seen one of these.
there was it was in my middle school like history class where the teacher just had books on a shelf, and there'd be like they would call it like enrichment or something, where it's just like an hour, 30 minutes where you're just like sitting in class doing kind of nothing, kind of waiting for the next second half of the day to go,
Like
to start.
a free time creative period.
Kind of, yeah, just to like it would like switch into different classrooms depending on the day.
Where'd you go to school at?
I went to school in Hickory, North Carolina.
Oh yeah,
so it's
that's right. I remember we talked about you being from the hills.
It's a lot smaller than Greensboro.
From the hills, baby.
There's not much. Well, yeah, there's not much happening there, but I guess being in a place like that, I felt the need to be in an environment that's more fast paced. That definitely like feeds my just visual
Honestly,
library more.
Thinking about that, being in such a rural area,
Yeah.
and I mean rural, it's absolutely
Right.
the definition. Like I feel like it would be almost expected to have more creative people in that area because you have to use your imagination to have a good time.
Right.
Otherwise, you're out there and you're just like banging sticks or something.
Honestly, there's definitely just times where I just had a stick and just whack a bush just because there's
what the
nothing
fuck
else
am
to
I
do.
doing?
Yeah.
At least you weren't one of those like doorknob lickers or something.
No.
Like it's one of two things I think. It's like, or one of like three things. You like you either join some sort of like civil like service, like the fire department, EMT, what have you, police department, yada yada, or you become a druggie, or you become creative and or find a way out.
Yeah, there was definitely like in my high school years, I know that there was like a rise in the use of like black tar heroin in our community, which definitely, I mean, I didn't know anybody that used or was surrounded or in that kind of environment, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, no, it was definitely a place that I felt like I needed to leave to get out from.
Because you think you just the type of person, because I've that's something else that we really want to talk about is kind of because of the fact that you come from such a small place. Small places tend to be very slow and lifestyle pace.
Yeah.
And you being a very high paced individual, and wanting to do things all the time, your really interest, and this is something that we've obviously spoken about off camera, is you always had a fascination with like bigger cities like New York or Los Angeles, and those are some places that you've been recently.
Yeah,
I definitely want to talk about that. What the how kind of being in such a place, I guess I don't know what it did for you, but before we go there, we definitely want to continue with that origin story. So early on, you feel like you were definitely you yourself at a young place, felt like this is not it for me. Like I need to constantly be in an environment that pushes me to be creative, that pushes me outside my box, that pushes me outside of the slow paced rhythm, right? How did you work with that feeling later on? Like we're talking middle school, maybe even high school.
Well, I didn't know. I always knew that I needed to leave. Because I think everyone should leave home. Because it gives you a different perspective of what home was and what it changes like what it means to you. When you're out of it, you kind of appreciate some things. You take away into the world what you've learned from it. And I forgot what you...
Oh no, you're good, man. Because it's a big question. It's a loaded question. In high school, you would say, because of the fact that you were such a high paced person, were you starting to use art as the outlet to kind of compensate because of that slow paced lifestyle?
Yes,
and
sure.
That's how you kind of were sane in such a slow environment. What were you doing in high school that kept that pace up for you? That kept you interested?
So I had started taking theater classes in high school. And it wasn't because I liked the acting. I'm not really like a people person or like a front man. I usually like to work behind the scenes and like make things that or create things that people like it catches people's attention. Like my product I feel should get more attention than I personally should.
So you like to be the man behind the curtain.
Right.
You are the Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard.
And
the Wizard of Oz.
That class definitely gave me the opportunities to make things like
theater class.
Yeah. Even just like working with lighting and video production. Just like the intros to that, like making short films and helping think about the sets that we would build and include like some projection on, and also the like advertising for whatever shows we would be doing, promoting that with character shots and
so you have to get a little bit of a marketing like experience in that aspect,
right? Just very like elementary, like not really specific, but yeah, that kind of energy still to the creation of whatever I was doing.
So do you have a camera at that point, or what were you using kind of like the school equipment to kind of use that as an outlet?
At the beginning, like I remember my freshman year, whenever I was getting introduced to that kind of like world of creating it just from scratch to like from start to finish, always hung out with people who had some sort of equipment. Like I remember like just using my phone to film, but somebody had like a Mac to edit, and I was
Yeah,
like,
see, that's an old mechanics tool. Like if you're like a hobbyist and you have like a project car or something you're working on, and you have like a very limited budget. And I've had this very limited budget before. If there's a tool you don't have, you can just borrow from your friends permanently.
yeah,
That's how you do it.
Permanently, baby.
That's how you do it. You're like, yeah, I need to borrow your computer so I can edit some footage, and they don't get that computer.
I'll
back.
get it back like next week. Text me.
You change your number.
You're obviously a pro at that.
Just kidding. But no, really.
But I mean, in that class, I definitely like got closer to like the classmates that were there, and the teacher was very she was really passionate about just like how art can help just an everyday living, and offered like to look at everything from different perspectives to gather, you know, an understanding of whatever situation. And I learned a lot in those years, and it's definitely still influences the way that I make, the way that I see things, and I want to all like translate that for other people. I feel like I want to do like a workshop or a class where that can happen.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I just need to think about what and how I'm teaching that through, but it's a process. It's definitely a process that I want to get involved with.
And you know, building off of that, since we are on the origin story, you get into college.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm assuming for you, this is a new space.
Yeah.
What year is this we're talking?
College started 2016.
So 2016 rolls around, right?
An epic year.
An epic year. 2016 rolls around, and you get into college.
Yes.
And you're in an environment where you've never been before.
Right.
Around people, surrounded by people that think very similarly what you
Right.
think.
Yeah.
Being in the art department.
Right.
What's that process like? I mean, was it kind of like a shock thing at first, or were you just like, this is the exact thing that I needed and let me run with this?
Yeah.
Also, that's another thing. Getting into college. Did you like shop around, or you were like, let me just take a shot in the dark and go for one college?
I applied to 3 schools. I was going to apply to another one, but there was a lot more to the application process for it. I applied to Parsons School of Design in New York.
New York, yeah.
I applied to UNC Asheville and UNC Greensboro, and I got into all 3. And I was going to apply to NYU's Tisch.
That's such a good program.
But yeah, like Parsons and NYU like are New York. They're expensive schools, A, and then B, places to live in.
Right. Out of budget.
Right. So my parents were like, that's too far, that's too much too soon. And at that time I didn't see it that way. I was just like, I just want to do it. But final decision was UNC Greensboro, because the information I found on their art department was like, I felt like what I needed. Like it was the most informative, and I liked what I saw. I took a tour of the campus, and I was like, yeah, this could be the place. And being actually in it the first year, I don't know, it wasn't too daunting. Like I felt like I knew why I was there for, especially like specifically to like learn more about like my craft, like what I can do. And I definitely met like, I feel like valuable people along the way.
So you never had that moment where you're like, maybe this was a mistake, or did you ever have that moment where you're like, maybe I'll just change my major real quick?
No, I never felt like I wanted to change my major. Like I knew a lot of people who were like, after the first year, they were like, no, I'm changing my major to like social work, or or even just like dropped out of the first semester, which I mean, it depends on like, I feel like that's a smart decision for people, because you get the feel of what college is, and then you're like, all right,
let that be a lesson to all the kiddos out there.
Yeah,
all right,
you know,
quitters never win.
If you don't want to go to college, you don't have
quitters
to.
quit.
You know when to fold them. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yeah.
But no, I felt like I knew what my goal was for school.
Yeah, and that's such a mature thing and a mature headspace to be in, because a lot of kids that go into college, they're not really. I mean, sure, they're going to college for something that they eventually want to do, but I feel like a lot of people go into college either not really knowing what to do or knowing what to do, but they get lost in the college experience, right?
Yeah.
And they start questioning themselves, which is a very healthy thing to do. But you seem like you came in with your mind already set, like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
These are my goals, and I'm going to do everything in order to achieve these goals.
Right.
And that's an amazing place to be, I think.
My boy's headstrong, all right?
Yeah. Very headstrong.
He chooses his fights wisely. And you know what? He grabs the bull by the horns, he wrestles that motherfucker to the ground, and then he slits his throat. You know what? Then him and the fam are eating steaks for like 6 months.
Exactly.
I wish it could be that easy. But like, I mean, like now being out of school, like that energy I feel like is gone because of just like the structure of school is gone.
No. It's just the bull got bigger.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
No, I see that. Yeah. Now it's trying to tame an even bigger beast than college, which is really hard to navigate.
Insanely big in the first place.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate. But I mean, trying to keep myself like stable, like surrounding myself with good people, and still like asking myself if it's still something that I want to do, and still like feeling drawn towards it. Which I mean, I don't want to say that there's got to be a reason, but I know that that's what I want to do.
So going off from this, we have two directions we can take it. We can talk about your experience going to New York for the first time in LA, or we can kind of ask you the question of questions, which is, why do you think it's important for people to listen to you talk about your passion in art? Why is art important to people outside of art? Which one do you want to tackle first?
I feel like let's do the traveling one,
yes,
and then the other one.
All right, let's do it.
I think the crossroads is a solid point for me to take on round number 2.
Round number 2, baby. Go ahead and crank it.
Round 2! Hiya!
You've already finished the other one?
I'm a big boy.
Oh, man.
He's a bull.
I'm halfway done through this one.
You gotta hydrate. You gotta keep the machine lubricated, otherwise it falls apart.
Yeah, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick is back and in full effect. All right.
Did I dribble? Oh, no, it just ran down the can.
A lot of condensation
This
there.
can's very dribbly.
Yeah. Ooh. So, yeah, dude, you, very high-paced kind of mentality. You always want to be creating things, always want to be doing things. And bigger cities provide that for people. You go to New York for the first time. What is that experience like?
That was awesome.
And when is this around?
I want to say this was December 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I had bought my ticket a couple months before when I had the money for it, and I was like, I have the money for it now. I know I probably won't have the money for it later, so let me just buy the ticket and stay with a friend and just see what it's like. And
there's once you buy that ticket, ladies and gentlemen, this is such a smart way to do it. Once you buy that ticket, there's no turning back.
Right.
So you put your, what is it? Speaking things into existence, putting things into existence. You've already bought it, the ticket, you're going. What's up?
So I go.
First off, what's the purpose of the
me going?
Yeah, what is the purpose for making the call of, I need to go see NYC? What is the reasoning?
I have always as a kid wanted to I've seen it in movies, I've seen it in TV, I knew it was a hub for creative people and a high energy place. So I always was attracted to that. And I had always made it a mission to visit New York.
So in your head, have you kind of romanticized that experience?
Yes, before going for sure.
Okay, you're really honestly, you're I got the time and the capacity, so let me just see what it's really all about to give it the shakedown.
Yeah, and so I booked the flight for myself. I land in LaGuardia and I get to my friend's apartment in uptown Manhattan. They were kind of surprised that I made it there for my first time. They were like, "Why? I thought you would have been lost and needed my help." But she was really nice to let me stay at hers for a couple nights while I just like explored. Uh, I had some pizza there, saw some art.
All right, hot button.
What?
Everybody's all like, the pizza, the pizza, the pizza, the pizza, the pizza, the pizza. I have eaten so much fucking pizza in my damn life. All right. Honestly, I can say I do tell a slight difference. I personally, I have a hard time deciphering the difference between Jersey pizza and NYC pizza. But I would say, big picture, what's the big fucking deal?
I don't know. I've never had Jersey
about
pizza
you?
to say, but whenever I took my first bite of like a Hawaiian slice in New York,
I'm with
was
it.
I was on the sidewalk and there were just like a bunch of people passing by and I like moaned like out loud at how good the pizza was. I was like,
See,
"Oh
Irvin's a real
my
one though. He's
god!"
like, let me put that tropical fruit on that pizza. There.
Yeah, no, pineapple can be on pizza. Anyone who says against that, I don't know. I don't understand your way of understanding. Like Hawaiian pizza is just delicious. It's savory. It's sweet.
And it definitely balances with that salt flavor you get from any kind of meat you put on it.
Yeah.
Do not put ham on pizza though, please. Fuck. Ugh.
You don't like ham on pizza?
Boiled pork? Nah,
What?
bro. Boiled pork? Nah, bro. Nah, I'm cool with bacon and pepperoni. Those are both pork items. But, bro, boiled pig? Oh, no.
I think
Salty
it's great.
bread
It's
and
delicious.
cheese. Oh, boy.
But it was a great experience to also do it by myself because I got like
I also,
the feel of the city and how fast it moves. And
was that more your pace?
I could see myself being there, maybe living there for like maybe a year or 3, not too long. Because like the second time I went, we were there for a week, and when we came back, I had like a headache. I was like, whoa, like my brain is just being overstimulated.
Fried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from just the constant movement and
Hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
You should try to work out some sort of like some sort of consortium or something where you like have a reason to visit, like
Right.
like a work
right for sure.
derived.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is gonna be more of my feel, like either establishing myself here in Greensboro or another city that is either a little like is about the same size or a little bigger, and then like going back and forth to New York to see exhibitions, maybe promote my own work and see what connections I make there. But I definitely want to go back.
What I would say you should do is, man, this would be nuts. All right, hear me out. All right, so we all know about the Charmin thing there, right? There's a bunch of toilets you can go to because no business there wants to like just let people roam in and use their toilet.
Mm-hmm. You got to punch in the code or something.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
and
we went to McDonald's
that's
that.
the BS I ran into. I went there for New Year's Eve. In
dude.
uniform back in the Navy days. And nobody would let me use the toilet without
God.
even paying like $15 for a drink or whatever.
That's
I
so
went to
crazy.
the Church of Scientology, and them boys were like, "You're not a member. You can't use the toilet." And I was like, "They don't talk like that." Just to be clear, but they wouldn't let me use the bathroom. I'm like, "Come on, man. I got a pee."
And I got the uniform, man. I'm
Yeah.
official.
And anyway, they weren't about it, and I ended up going to a bar. And long story short, I didn't have to pay for a drink. Somebody bought me a drink, and I got to the bathroom. It was awesome. Freebies everywhere.
Nice.
Anyway, so imagine like being able to like work out some sort of deal where you could put your art into like the restrooms at the Charmin, like it's like a toilet outlet basically.
Interesting.
Like 15, 20, 30. I don't know how many toilets are there. I don't ever.
Are they functional or are they just
Yeah.
there for?
They're for people to come through and use Charmin toilet paper. That's what it's all about.
It's promo.
So you get that toilet experience, real deal. Try before you buy. That is top notch marketing, my boy.
They are
Charmin
definitely
knocking out
trying
the
to
park.
provide that experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you could get some art in the restroom there, that would be super sick, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very practical.
Yeah, look at like just
I want
some
something to
art
look
while
at.
you're.
I want something to look at while I'm
I don't want to
going.
just look at this tile.
That being said, I don't go number 2 anymore. I
Yeah.
quit that. That's gross.
Yeah.
Like in general, or just like in public?
I've never done it.
I am worried about your health.
I'm like Kim Jong-un, just goes away.
Oh my god.
My body metabolizes it into energy.
man.
I'm not gross like the rest of you.
I wish
peasants.
I wish I could do that.
Well, listen, bringing it back, all right?
Yeah,
Bringing
reel
it
it in,
back,
I'm sorry.
reeling it in. So you're in New York. You kind of get a better idea of the hustle and bustle, the lifestyle, what it takes to be in that
Oh
environment.
my god, yeah.
What do you think the main kind of things that you got out of being in a bigger city gave you as an artist and as a person that is very interested in a high-paced kind of very productive lifestyle?
Well, it definitely like showed me that you're not always going to be ready for that place. That it moves so fast that you are either there to kind of watch that movement from like a comfortable distance and just like enjoy it and kind of just interact with like the
mundane things.
As like a tourist.
I love people watching.
Me too.
Or you can like, or you're ready enough to like do it and be there, and it just like becomes this like natural place, which I don't think I am ready yet. And I'm now like being in a place like that makes me question like exactly where do I want to be, because it's definitely a spot to be, but I don't know if that's the spot for me.
Right. Man, so New York is over, right? You go back to school, you go back to, the Greensboro lifestyle. Pretty close to graduation at this point, right? Another 2 years, year and a half, something like that. What do you use the last 2 years of school to do? And I me personally, as a friend, looking from outside in, I see your art start to change a little bit.
Yeah.
And you start to go down different rabbit holes,
right,
if you will.
Yeah.
Big rabbit holes.
Big rabbit holes, folks. What are these rabbit holes? Where's your art going? Where are you at mentally?
Explain yourself, sir.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, before like starting school, I knew I wanted to do photography specifically. Like that was kind of what I had an eye for. That's what I kind of dedicated a little bit more time than to drawing or to painting or sculpting. And learning more about like the conceptual side of photography and how capturing situations in time, people, places.
Are there? I don't mean to cut you off.
You're fine.
Are there different types of photography?
Yeah, there's.
I don't even know if I'm saying photography properly.
You're saying, or there's
photographer.
There's like documentary where it's more focused about like real life, real stories, real situations.
That raw shit.
Yeah, and like how that can be used to like show somebody else like a different perspective.
Like the real gritty. This is what it really is.
We learned about Lewis Hine and
who that?
He's a photographer from the late 1800s, early 1900s.
So early photography.
Yeah, photographing the children that worked in the mills here in the South.
Ooh.
And his work definitely, influenced child labor laws and kids getting an education.
Well, good. Hell yeah. So, I don't agree with any of that shit.
well, child labor.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Right.
I'm just saying, little kid takes my job, I'm gonna beat the shit out of the parking lot.
And then like being exposed to like a variety of work, kind of like whether it be painting or whatever, just like that all art kind of influences itself and each other within the different mediums, and also looking to other ways of making, like instead of just sketching on paper or taking a photograph, like using technology to help generate something with new software that other artists have created, other like computer science professionals have created as tools to create these new aesthetics, new
so this is where the recycling thing comes into play.
I guess like taking
like an original like like frame of something, and I'm like, I may butcher terminologies over here.
No, you're good so far, actually.
So far you're doing fine.
So you take like, an original still frame, like a shot of an image, and then you're saying that you manipulate it, and that's where I'm thinking of. Well, that's a recycled image now,
right?
And repurposed, recycled and repurposed.
Yeah, I usually will. Could you ask me again?
Yeah, no. So essentially, what we're talking about now, and where we're trying to go with it, is New York trip happens. Your last couple of years of college, your art starts not manipulating, but changing, transforming. You start, from what you've told us so far, you start wanting to shift from what Nick was saying, the regular framed images, just regular frame without any manipulation to them, just traditional photography. And you start using these digital platforms, these constructed algorithms that certain people have made in order to manipulate your photography and repurpose it into something else.
I use the new softwares and generating programs. I that's more of working with the computer to produce something not like, I don't want to say new. I don't know if it's new, but it's definitely, I don't think it's been done before, especially in like the last 50 years. But in terms of like my photo, it's where I have more control with my hand in it. That's me going into Photoshop and processing images and putting like collaging together digitally, just imagery that I would like to catch someone's attention with, for them to stop and like kind of look at, kind of inspect,
right,
and like
that's
react
perfect for me. I walk by like stuff all the time. I'm like, the hell is that? And I actually like real world, like this has happened multiple times thanks to you and your damn Instagram. I'll be like scrolling through and I'll be like, the hell is that? No, it's swerving. So yeah, like it works.
Yeah,
it's new. It's something that's not seen on a timeline. We're in a culture where we're so used to having a camera in our pocket and taking just real life images of something. You bring something new where you take that mundane image, and it's really not mundane. It's actually amazing what we can do with the photo.
Yeah,
but
for anyone. Yeah,
you take that and you manipulate it and you make it something interesting. And what Nick is saying is, you're that person in his timeline that when you're scrolling through, your image pops because of the fact that you've collaged things on there, you've manipulated the colors, you've done different things with it, and that pops to the eye, and it works.
And it's definitely the perfect time to plug it again. Like if you haven't checked it out by now, please pause the episode, put the fucking phone down, and then pick it back up, and then go to Instagram, and then look at my boy Swervin' Urban's page. Like, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I also have a website with the same spelling, just swervin.com. It's got just...
You have a website and you didn't tell me?
I have a website, yeah.
Jeez,
and right now I'm in like the process of setting an online shop to sell prints. I'm figuring out the logistics of setting up my bank account with just, I don't know.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, there's a whole thing, which I wish I had someone to just be like, hey, can you do this for me?
Hey, listen, you're out of college, you can get interns on it.
Interns, yes, interns.
Actually, I could probably hook you up with somebody.
I mean, I definitely want to like figure it out myself. So then because I want like when it's done, I would like it to be like the easiest for someone to just go on there and be able to buy it, and not having to go through certain complications with like shipping or ordering.
Right.
So I definitely want to figure out all those details before it's ready. But to kind of go back with the manipulation, it's everyone's got a camera. Like it's kind of been like a phenomenon that's happened like since the invention of it, where at some point people, like just everyday people, were able to get their hands and take family photos and send them off to be developed. And it had...
I hated those
Like I know that like in France there was like this whole like kind of movement like of the photographic mania or something. And like yeah, like then since people were starting to document their lives, there definitely a group of artists who were like, let's kind of trip reality a little bit and kind of show what can be done with this technology.
Right.
And now we have cameras that can perceive things that we can't with
Can't
our,
even look
yeah,
at.
like with infrared and UV
and I
rays
love
and
it. Oh man.
God, it'd be really interesting to like work with those kinds of cameras instead of just a regular photographic one.
I remember the first time I got to wear night vision goggles. Is actually like the only time I got to wear them. But it was like I was going through the Suez Canal.
Yeah.
And our torpedo, like our TMC, the torpedo chief, came up topside. He was like, "Here, play with these. Don't drop them in the water. They're really expensive." I was like, "Thanks, chief." And I spent like 3 hours just up there, like, like completely forgot that I was like up there supposed to be like manning an M60, but I was like, "This is awesome." It's like so calm. Those things are sick.
Man,
they're kind of clunky though.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, you gotta pay attention to what's around you, otherwise you bop your head. And then you bop your head, well, you could be dead.
There you go, man. And making it full circle and kind of going from I guess we can say the invention of cameras, right? And the beginning, the origin of the photographic camera, right? Into now. And again, making that full circle. Every art and every business, every outlet of anything, there's always circles, right? Especially in art. There's circles of style, like you have the photographer circle, and within that there's different micro circles, right? Where do you see the photography industry now, and where do you want to fit into it and kind of branch out?
Where do I see the photo industry now? Well, I feel like it definitely feels very marketed heavy, very like promo branding, where like with Instagram and like
capitalistic
Snapchat, and it's now it's like an extension of how to promote yourself or an idea, and the image is like the kind of like the proof, where a lot of people now are kind of showing their followers either like a brand that they relate to, their values to, and try to extend that out to other people.
And then where are you within that?
Where am I?
Because you're essentially in the photography manipulation circle, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's a vast circle.
Yeah.
A lot of really good photographers out there that are doing.
There's so many great artists online that...
It's also a confusing circle.
Yeah.
So many layers. It's like an onion.
Like an ogre.
Yeah, it's like an ogre. It smells bad. I'm just kidding. You guys are cool.
I don't know where I see myself in that. It feels like it's like entertainment, but for like a short amount of time. Just because now there's just like this oversaturation of images and sharing, where that's the only thing that I can see it as now, where someone sees a post that I make, and I mean, I don't know how long they interact with it, how long they sit with it to kind of like understand what's happening within the image, but yeah, it's not really tied to, I don't know, it's not really focused, I feel. And I feel like that's something that I want to do, is to focus it towards an idea instead of just it being
a complete abstract kind of thing.
Right.
I know. So what was it, the event we went to where you had the center display? And to kind of explain this, it was like a 3-dimensional like square frame that had like a white mesh, like almost a mesh, not
Mhm.
quite a mesh, but it was like a white fabric around it. And I think it was like you're supposed to stand in the center of it
Mhm.
with your head through the middle
Inside,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah. And you could like see this like wild 3D projected image, and it was like, you know, it was animated.
Mhm.
And I spent a solid like 10, 15 minutes trying to understand what was like going on, and I still don't know what the fuck was going on. And actually, I've actually had dreams about this. I said
Really?
actually twice because I mean this.
That's crazy.
But it was just like, I don't know. I felt like it was like people walking or something.
Yeah.
Like Sasquatch almost, like
Yeah.
a Sasquatch walk, but it was like kind of jiving, and I was like feeling it, and I was like, hell yeah, make some music.
Yeah, that's something that I want to start incorporating too, is just sound. I feel like I know what sounds good. I'm just not like musically inclined to create music.
I got you.
But that project was the final for my photo capstone. I did a video project, which was
And that was at the GPS.
Yeah,
the
it was at
Greensboro,
Greensboro
Project Space.
Yeah,
So it was an exhibition.
yeah.
Which is like a fight, right?
Kind
Yes.
of. Kind of an art fight.
But even though it was a photo class, I wanted to venture out into video art, and something that I'm always fascinated with, especially with art itself, is that it's like it's a spectacle that you kind of admire, whether it makes sense or not, whether you understand it or not. Like it's still something to
Did
like
not.
be
Tiny brain power over here.
yeah, to something to be like sucked into and to like experience. And I definitely wanted to provide like a really an experience that wouldn't be had at just a regular photo exhibition.
Definitely not. So like just to kind of like categorize the stuff that was there, it was like awesome stuff that I can't comprehend. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? Like,
Yeah, there was so much
like,
good work there.
class acts. And then I would put at the bottom of the totem pole because there's like a gap here, like other things that I'm not really sure what this is, but it looks cool. And then there was like some stuff where like people took pictures of like trashy nipples.
Sometimes art can be like that. I know that
There was like rugged stuff.
there was so many good.
There was a cool one in the
artists
middle.
there.
I put it like high middle,
Mhm.
where someone did like a historical thing of like how the not traffic, but like how the highway system had taken
Yeah.
over like middle lower class like black communities.
Yeah, that was by Peter Brown. Yeah.
He told me the story about it that made me cry. I was like fucking like, this is fucked up.
And that's something that art can do. Like, you know, it like that
heavily
other
convey
that other perspective.
historical precedents.
Yeah.
And that nailed it. Yours though was like ultimately captivating. It was like that's why I put yours up here.
Thanks.
I was like,
And you're also experiencing, right? You have to go inside of the cube.
Yeah, if you want to. I know
If
that
you want to.
that can be like visually
Always go inside the
abrasive,
cube.
kind of a little bit intense.
Mhm.
So I definitely wanted to make something that if somebody wanted to,
It's
they
optional.
could go inside
Right.
and experience it in a completely different way than just looking at it from the outside.
if you guys know me, I'm an everything or nothing kind of guy. I don't want no half-ass experience.
People were kind of like intimidated. They would like just look at it from the outside, and I put like the description for it right
on the floor, yeah.
inside. So if whoever wanted to kind of know what it was about, they would have to like get inside and read it.
Yeah, that's a really good concept.
Because I didn't know where to put that information card. I was like, well, this is in the middle of the room. I don't want to just like put it on the wall because no one's gonna know what it's to. So yeah, just on the floor, and yeah,
I like to compare it to a metaphor real quick. There's no half-ass in a roller coaster. You're either on the ride or you're off the ride.
Exactly.
It took a while to even put that up. I want to say like 36 hours of me just like trying to figure out how to like apart from making the piece itself, like just installing it, like hanging
the
it,
technical aspects,
and the projectors, which I've done like in that theater class. Like I hung projectors before, and I like just the whole struggle of doing that, getting it positioned right, is always something that I'm willing to go through to see the idea be real.
Well, listen, we've covered a lot, and a lot in a very good way. And in order to wrap this, episode up, we kind of wanted to ask you what the future holds for you. What do you want to dive into in the next year, or maybe in the next month? What you got going on, so the people behind the camera can have a better idea of where you're going and can follow you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely have ideas to host workshops. I'm not sure what like demographic that would be focused to. But a workshop maybe with like film, to continue like this online shop idea, and to raise funds for myself to keep my practice going, and also looking for organizations that I can donate to, especially in these times where what we do with our money can really influence like how that is returned to us, whether it be through services or products.
Classic. You gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah. And yeah, just to continue making, to just continue creating. I don't plan on stopping. I don't want to stop, because it's something that I'm passionate about, but redirecting that focus into something that's beneficial, not only for me, but to a larger collective.
No breaks.
And that's an amazing way to wrap it up. And one last thing we just started doing here at the 4099 podcast is asking our guests to look into any camera and to kind of, if you have something to tell the folks, specifically a message or maybe something of inspiration to keep the younger generation, younger maybe kids that are looking at this, that are interested in photography or art, what would you tell them?
I would say keep doodling. If you have an idea for something, whether that be an art project or just anything, a crazy idea for a building, or for I don't know, whatever idea that you have, like, just do it and find I don't know, stability in the process of making. That's what I would say.
Well, hey, folks, this has been another amazing episode at the 4099 podcast. Thank you so much for coming in. And
I really enjoyed this conversation for sure.
Yeah, no, we enjoyed it.
It was definitely safer than our last conversation.
Serial killers being the last conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Killed all the beers.
And again, thank you so much for sharing not only with us what you got going on, but with the folks behind the camera. And we'll love to have you on for another round, man, sometime in the future.
Yes,
Thanks for coming in, dude.
Don't stop coming back.
And folks, this is the 4099 podcast. A lot of cool, creative ideas flowing here.
So I'm thinking, it's a possibility, but I'm thinking next week we're gonna do the Drag Me Up.
Oh man, yeah, we're gonna get a
we're gonna have a special effects makeup artist in the house, and I guess it's me. It could be you.
No, you're good.
You sure? So I'm gonna let her go ahead and just doll me up like a nice, sexy woman, a drag queen.
So if you guys wanna see that, tune in next week.
Pretty sure I make a very handsome lady.
Absolutely, and I'm sure a lot of people want to see it, man.
I can see that.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much. This has been amazing. A lot of content coming your way. Thanks again. Episode 17 at the 4099 podcast. Thank you so much.
We're out. Woo!